My friends, life is nothing more than a reflection of the thoughts we allow to dominate our minds. Every action we take, every word we speak, every path we walk begins first as a seed in thought. If you desire a different life, you must first discipline the world within you. When you master your thoughts, you command your destiny. My friends, everything you see around you is nothing more than the shadow of a thought that once lived in someone's mind. A building first existed as an idea on paper. A business was once a dream in the mind of its founder, and every fortune, every discovery, every invention was once invisible, held only in imagination. Thoughts are the true causes, circumstances are only the effects. If your present situation displeases you, understand this truth. It is not permanent, it is not fixed, it is not final. It is the fruit of yesterday's dominant thinking. Your financial state, your relationships, your opportunities, even your challenges are the harvest of seeds once planted in the garden of your mind. Think of the farmer. He does not plant corn and expect wheat to grow. In the same way, you cannot plant thoughts of failure, doubt, and limitation and expect success, freedom, and abundance to appear. Circumstances are loyal servants. They obey the master thought. If you hold in your mind the picture of struggle, life will faithfully mirror it. If you hold the image of victory, life must bring opportunities that match it. This is why the first work of transformation is inner work. Do not waste your strength railing against conditions, blaming others, or cursing the storm around you. The storm is only the result of unseen winds within. Change the direction of your thinking, and the winds will carry you to a different shore. The moment you accept that thoughts are causes, you claim power over your destiny. You are no longer a victim of circumstance, but the creator of circumstance. Life ceases to be an accident and becomes a deliberate design. And the blueprint is always drawn in thought. The mind is like a fertile garden, endlessly productive, but indifferent to what grows within it. If you scatter seeds of hope, faith, and vision, the garden will yield fruit that nourishes your life. But if you neglect it, if you leave it unattended, weeds of fear, doubt, envy, and worry will take root and spread with astonishing speed. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you do not plant deliberately, something else will grow by default. Every day, whether you are aware of it or not, your mind is being seeded. From conversations you engage in, from the news you consume, from the company you keep, from the words you repeat to yourself in silence, these are the seeds. Some are wholesome, some are poisonous. And just as a wise gardener inspects the soil daily, pulling out every weed before it can spread, so too must you examine your thoughts and uproot those that weaken your spirit. A single unchecked thought of discouragement can multiply into despair. One seed of jealousy can choke the joy of achievement. But a single seed of courage, if nourished, can grow into a mighty tree of persistence. One seed of faith, if protected, can bear the fruit of abundance. You cannot escape this law of growth, but you can govern it. The garden of the mind demands daily attention. You cannot weed it once and assume your work is finished. You must return again and again, each morning, each night, to examine what is growing. Ask yourself, does this thought strengthen me or weaken me? Does it move me forward or hold me back? If it is a weed, cast it out before it takes root. If it is a noble seed, water it with focus, feed it with belief, and protect it with persistence. Remember, the richest soil cannot resist a seed. It will grow whatever is planted. If you are diligent, your mind will yield a harvest of strength, joy, and success. If you are careless, it will be overrun by weeds that steal your energy and rob your future. The choice is always yours. What you continually hold in your mind, you inevitably draw into your life. Your thoughts are not idle things. They are forces, subtle but powerful, vibrating into the world and shaping the conditions you meet. A mind that is constantly occupied with lack will discover more reasons to feel poor. A mind that dwells upon obstacles will encounter them at every turn. But a mind fixed upon opportunity, abundance, and possibility becomes a magnet that pulls circumstances of the same nature into existence. Consider this: every invention, every empire, every fortune began first as a picture in the mind of the one who created it. They held that image so firmly, so vividly, that the world itself seemed to conspire to make it real. And you have this same power. When you persistently think about health, strength, and vitality, you find yourself attracted to the habits, people, and resources that strengthen your body. When you carry in your mind the image of prosperity, doors open where once there were only walls, and unseen hands seem to guide you toward opportunity. This is not magic, nor is it accident. It is the law of cause and effect working through the channel of your thought. What you impress upon your subconscious, you express in your circumstances. The thoughts you nurture shape your attitude, your decisions, your actions. And those actions build the life you walk into tomorrow. If you believe you are destined for failure, you unconsciously choose in ways that sabotage your progress. If you believe success is yours, you take steps with courage, and opportunity responds. Your mind is a magnet, and it does not discriminate. It will attract whatever you hold within it most often, whether good or bad, whether empowering or destructive. That is why you must be deliberate. You must choose to dwell on the noble, the strong, the abundant, the beautiful, and the worthwhile. Hold fast to these thoughts, let them dominate, let them sink into your inner being, and they will transform themselves into outward reality. You cannot escape this truth. Your life bends to the images you carry. Guard your mental pictures, for they are blueprints. Choose them wisely, for they are magnets. And remember always, you are never a prisoner of circumstance. You are the master of thought, and by that mastery, you shape the very conditions of your destiny. The most constant voice you will ever hear is not from the world outside, but from the one within. From the moment you awaken until the moment you rest, a stream of words runs silently through your mind. This inner conversation is the command center of your life, issuing orders to your subconscious, programming your belief, and ultimately directing your actions. If that conversation is filled with doubt, fear, and limitation, then no amount of external encouragement will lift you for long. But if your inner words are disciplined, charged with faith, courage, and determination, you become unstoppable. Too often, people sabotage themselves not by what others say, but by what they say to themselves in the quiet of their own minds. They rehearse failure before they even attempt success. They whisper defeat before they take the first step. They convince themselves of weakness, and life obliges by providing the evidence. Yet the reverse is also true. When you begin to speak to yourself with authority, when you replace "I can't" with "I will," when you trade "this is impossible" for "this shall be done," you issue a new command to your subconscious, and it goes to work aligning circumstances with that instruction. Think of the subconscious as a faithful servant. It does not argue, it does not reason, it does not choose. It only obeys. And the orders it receives are the words you feed it through your inner dialogue. If you tell yourself you are unworthy, it will find ways to prove you right. If you declare to yourself that you are capable, resourceful, and destined to succeed, it will move mountains to fulfill that command. Discipline, then, is not repression but direction. You cannot always silence the voice within, but you can train it. You can choose its tone, its vocabulary, its message. Each time a thought of weakness arises, you can replace it with strength. Each time fear whispers, you can answer with faith. Each time doubt intrudes, you can command it to leave and assert certainty. This takes practice, daily repetition, and vigilance. But it is a practice that rewires the very pattern of your destiny. Understand this clearly. The conversation you hold with yourself is far more powerful than the conversation you hold with the world. Others may encourage you for a moment, but your own voice is with you always. Train it to be your ally. Let it speak of victory, not defeat, of courage, not fear, of abundance, not scarcity. For as surely as water shapes the stone it touches daily, your inner words carve the shape of your life. What you see with your physical eyes is only the surface of reality. Appearances are but a snapshot of the present moment, a temporary picture of what has been created by past thoughts, past choices, and past actions. Too many people accept these appearances as final truth. They look at a bank account and declare themselves poor. They look at a challenge and call it defeat. They look at a delay and assume it is denial. But wisdom teaches us to see beyond appearances, to recognize that what is today does not dictate what can be tomorrow. Every great achievement was once invisible. The man standing in the ruins may appear defeated, yet within his mind could be the vision of a mighty empire. The child with torn shoes may appear destitute, yet in her imagination could live a future of wealth and leadership. The student struggling with failure may seem incapable, yet hidden within that struggle may be the seed of genius. If you accept only what your eyes reveal, you imprison yourself in limitation. But if you look through the lens of vision, you see possibilities that others cannot see. This ability to see beyond appearances is the very foundation of faith. Faith is not blind, it sees further. It does not ignore the facts, it transcends them. Where the ordinary eye sees an obstacle, faith sees a stepping stone. Where the average mind sees the end, faith sees the beginning. It looks at the soil and envisions the harvest, looks at the stone and envisions the sculpture, looks at the problem and envisions the solution. Appearances are deceptive because they represent only the outer shell of reality. The real substance lies within thought, within imagination, within the unseen. The wealthy man may appear secure, but if his mind is dominated by fear, he lives in poverty. The struggling dreamer may appear defeated, but if his mind is saturated with vision, he carries within him a fortune that time will reveal. Therefore, train yourself not to be misled by the outer picture. Learn to hold fast to the inner picture, the one you deliberately choose. Do not allow a temporary circumstance to dictate the story of your life. Instead, let your vision write a greater narrative than appearances suggest. When others see obstacles, see opportunities. When others see endings, see beginnings. When others see the impossible, see the inevitable. Remember this: appearances change, but truth endures. What you carry in your vision has the power to reshape what you see before you. So never accept the surface of things as your final reality. Dare to see beyond, for it is the unseen vision that commands the seen world to obey. A single thought, no matter how noble or powerful, remains only a dream until it is pursued with persistence. Ideas alone do not shape destinies. Ideas held firmly, acted upon daily, and carried through adversity do. The world is filled with men and women who once had brilliant visions, but they let those visions fade because the path grew difficult. Their thoughts were seeds that never broke the soil. Persistence is the water, the sunlight, and the patient care that allows those seeds to grow into towering realities. When you first set your mind on a goal, you ignite a spark. But life will test that spark. You will meet obstacles, delays, even ridicule. Appearances may tell you the goal is too far, that the dream is too great, that the struggle is not worth it. And this is where most people surrender. They mistake temporary resistance for permanent defeat. Yet those who persist, who hold the thought with unwavering conviction and press forward day after day, discover that resistance itself was the very force that shaped their strength. Think of the sculptor who strikes the marble with his chisel. One blow alone does not reveal the masterpiece. It is the repetition of many blows, guided by a clear vision, that finally brings form to the stone. So it is with your thoughts. One burst of enthusiasm is not enough. It is the steady application of thought, belief, and action, repeated with persistence, that eventually forces reality to yield. Persistence is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Without it, thought remains only imagination. With it, thought becomes flesh, circumstance, and fact. Every fortune ever built, every invention that changed the world, every triumph over adversity was carried on the shoulders of persistence. The great ones are not those who never fell. They are those who refuse to stay down. Your dream does not ask for perfection. It does not demand that you never stumble. It asks only that you refuse to let go, that you rise each time you are knocked down, that you hold the vision more tightly than the difficulty. With persistence, obstacles become stepping stones, delays become lessons, and failures become the raw material of success. Understand this truth the moment you decide to persist until the goal is won. The outcome is already determined. Time may be the only variable, but the result is inevitable. For persistence transforms thought into reality, just as surely as the steady flow of a river carves valleys through stone. Control of the mind is often misunderstood. Many believe it means to fight, to resist, to forcefully push away every unwanted thought. But repression only makes the mind rebel. The more you try to suppress fear, the more it grows. The harder you struggle against doubt, the more it takes hold. True control is not the violent act of repression. It is the art of direction. Just as a river cannot be stopped, but can be guided into channels that produce power, so too must the stream of your thoughts be guided rather than crushed. When a thought of weakness enters your mind, do not battle it in frustration. Replace it with a thought of strength. When fear whispers its warnings, answer not with denial, but with a higher voice of faith. When discouragement rises, do not waste your energy in struggle. Redirect your attention to the vision of what you seek. The mind cannot hold two dominant thoughts at once. By deliberately choosing what you allow to stay, you weaken what you wish to leave. Consider how the sailor handles the wind. He does not curse it, nor does he attempt to silence it. He simply adjusts his sails and uses its force to carry him toward his destination. In the same way, when emotions, doubts, or distractions arise, you need not exhaust yourself in repression. Instead, you adjust your mental sails, turning the energy of thought toward a constructive course. This is mastery, not resistance. Control, therefore, is the quiet confidence of a master gardener. He does not argue with weeds, nor does he despair at their appearance. He pulls them out calmly and plants flowers in their place. So it must be with you. Each time a destructive thought surfaces, guide your mind back to the vision of strength, abundance, and success. Over time, this practice becomes habit, and habit becomes character. Understand this: your mind will never be empty. It is always occupied with something. The question is not whether you will think, but what you will think. Not whether you will imagine, but what you will imagine. Not whether you will believe, but what you will believe. Control is the power to decide the direction. And when you choose the direction consciously, you cease to be a prisoner of thought and become its master. In the end, control is not about fighting the currents of the mind, but steering them. It is not the rejection of thought, but the redirection of thought. It is not repression, but deliberate guidance. And once you learn this, you hold the rudder of your destiny firmly in your hands, steering toward the life you were meant to create. My friends, your thoughts are the architects of your destiny. Do not hand the pen to fear, to doubt, to circumstance. Write your own story with deliberate, powerful thought. Change the current within, and the tide of your life must obey.